Poverty has been a large problem since the beginning of civilization, and solving this colossal issue is a difficult but essential task. There are many reasons poverty is damaging and has to be solved, and giving ourselves a time frame for completion is a vital part of finally ending this disaster. Before we can get into how poverty can be solved and why it's an issue, what poverty is must first be understood. Poverty can be defined through a statistical manner, but has a much broader general meaning. The straightforward definition of poverty is living off or earning less than $1.90 per day. This, however, does not include the full range of poverty. Poverty can also include the lack of access to essential human needs, basic services like going to the doctors when sick, and in general, a lack of quality education. Now we understand what poverty is, we can get into why poverty is perceived as being such a monumental issue. To give you an idea, poverty is responsible for 45% of children's deaths who are under the age of 5. Most of these deaths are forgotten and in the quiet corners of small towns from South Africa. While the rest of the world has been improving in the context of poverty rates, areas like South Africa have been doing the complete opposite. In these less developed areas, around 28% of children live in poverty. If the direction this disaster is taking continues, the rate of death in kids under the age of 15 could continue to rise above the 1 death every 5 seconds we experience today. Despite all of this, people in less developed countries are not the only ones subject to poverty. The United States has the 4th highest poverty rate, breaking the pattern of less developed areas experiencing high poverty. The reason for this is that location is not the only reason for people ending up in poverty. Common trends can be seen linking higher chances of ending up in poverty with families containing children, having a single parent, and having a disabled family member. This, however, is not always true. Families who meet these criteria can still live perfectly normal and poverty-free lives. The key to this is education. If basic education was taught to all adults, poverty would drop by over 50%, and teaching students in less developed countries simple reading would bring over 170 million people out of poverty. Throwing food and money at the people and places who experience poverty isn't going to help them in the long run, but teaching them the skills they need to sustain themselves can. A strong goal we can work towards achieving is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals' aim of abolishing poverty by 2030. This is extremely difficult and unlikely, but is possible with hard work, funding, and policies. To help educate the people in poverty, a few problems must first be taken care of. To have the ability to learn, accessible and clean water, food, and sanitation must first be acquired. Having these basic functions will greatly increase the energy and mental capabilities of people who suffer from poverty. If this along with education can be achieved, poverty being gone by 2030 doesn't seem so distant. To revise, poverty is a large problem faced by millions around the globe. Being the cause of death and suffering makes it one of the largest problems we face. There are certain people and locations that are more likely to experience poverty, but quality education makes these points near invalid. To complete the goal of ending poverty by 2030, education is required. Giving everyone as little as simple reading skills and education is all that is needed to finally abolish this plague and improve the world in a positive way for many.